Well, again, let me start from where my brother, President Ramaphosa, left off. One, we can pat each other's back and be happy that we are making progress, which is true. The continent is making progress. Where we are now is not where we were 30 years ago. But at the same time, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. And we don't need to blame anybody else. We just need to do what we have to do. Because I believe we can do better, we can do more, and we can do many things together. And that will take us very far. This kind of conversation and what has been said by all of us most of the time has been going on more or less forever. We talk about Africa's potential, we talk about, the partnership between the private sector and public sector. As has been said, it's about resources, it's about money, it's about what we do in terms of investment. So we can't just appeal to the private sector to be part of that process, to join with the public sector and do what we need to do without incentivizing the private sector. Because there is a lot government can do to create these incentives. And that, it's about regulation, it's about laws, it's about all kinds of support that, and of course, a secure environment. We talk about good governance, we talk about earlier accountability was being talked about. These are real things that matter, and we should be making sure. If we don't, even to the question you've raised, we won't be making progress. Because, for example, let me go straight to the question. The cutting of budgets, cutting of aid, cutting of all kinds of things. And all of a sudden, we Africans, we wake up to this reality when it has been there so many times before, and we start scrambling. What do we do? No, what we need to do is what we should have done many years ago, and still we can do it. There is a mentality out there, it's sort of a mindset in our continent, that somebody out there is going to foot the bill of our development. And that has undermined our effort to contribute as much as we can ourselves for our own development. So what we need to do, we need to do what we started doing. The frustration here for me is, we talked about how I championed the reform and worked with many other leaders on different subjects. But there is a sense of frustration that what we have agreed, even at a continental level, involving all leaders and how regional communities should work, with the AU at a continental level, is not implemented. The systems are so bureaucratic that you imagine they live in another world, not this one that is so harsh to us that we need to be doing certain things certain ways without expecting that somebody will always be kind to us, and that's what we depend on almost forever. I'm saying this out of experience. I have lived in my country, and I see many other African countries go through that. So on one hand, there is everything in our hands to do whatever we need to do and benefit from that. On the other, we are expecting that somebody else will come and do what we need for ourselves.
Right.
So how can this go on forever? You know, we have the knowledge, we have the vision, we have everything. We have resources, and we have organizations, we organize, we have. Africa should be far ahead of where we are now. And we shouldn't take any comfort that some progress has been made here or there. We just need to do what we have to do.
Right.
Yes, and we have all the means to do it. So, so we are actually our own problems. So if we addressed ourselves to this matter that we need to work together, that we need to, I mean, we export raw materials, all right?
Right.
And then import
the finished product.
Finished products. We export talent and then get experts coming to give us all kinds of things. I mean, why don't we retain this talent and let the talent to do what we need them to do for ourselves? So it's a much deeper conversation you must have, and sometimes if we have to wash our dirty linen in public for the sake of making progress, then we still have to do it. But there is a sense of frustration that you cannot simply be comfortable about. So again, what President Ramaphosa just said, for example, the efforts here and there about our situation when COVID struck. After that, I was given the responsibility to champion the domestic financing for health.
Right.
You know, some of these things we can, and you find in the mindsets of many people, they expect that somebody will do the funding. We can't tap into our own resources to the level that is required and to do exactly the things we agreed we should do, and some of us have tried to do, but it's not enough.
Right.
We need as many countries get involved on our continent as possible.
All right.
So I think there is more conversation to be had, and we should have it, maybe not on the stage like this. We need to be brutally honest with each other somewhere in different rooms, and I can promise you we are going to contribute to that.
All right. In fact, let me ask President